Hello again. I'm here to show you how to configure the dynamic NAT or network address translation. So we're done with the static NAT. Now let me show you how to do the packet tracer activity 9.2.2.5 or the dynamic NAT configuration. So there you go. So we have here a topology of three devices trying to connect or that is connected to the internet. Okay, and we have here a server. Okay, so we want to connect to the server, okay, the outside of our topology. So let's follow the step-by-step process. On R2, step 1, on R2, configure one statement for ACL1 to permit any address belonging to 172.16.0.0. So how to do that? Okay, there you go. So go to R2 and then the CLI. They just enable, configure terminal, and then you need to call on access list. So then one permit 172.16.0.0. And then what are we going to put here? Pause for a while. It's the wildcard mask 0.0.255.255. Okay, so we're done. Then the next step is configure and not a pool of address for NAT. So how do we configure a pool of address for NAT? So configure R2 with NAT pool that uses all four addresses in the 209.165.76.196. Slash 30. So slash 30 already shows us that it yes, it has four addresses, but the first one is the network address, the last one is the broadcast address. So there are only two usable IPs. So notice in the topology there are three network ranges that would be translated based on ACL created. So that we have three uh, network ranges here. What will happen if more than two devices attempt to access the internet? Okay, what will happen? So of course, only two will be allowed. The other one is or will be dropped unless one of the first two, okay, disconnected and left the list. Then most probably the third device may be able to get a translation. Okay, so let's just continue. So how do we configure or how do we create a NAT pool? So IP NAT, okay, there, and then look at the options. It's not just inside and outside. So there's a pool, okay, a pool, and let's call it my pool. Okay, let's call the pool name my pool, and uh, the start IP as mentioned by our instructions, then it should be 209.165.76.196. And then the end IP is 209. Take note, we're putting a range. 209.165.76.199. So that's the last IP for the slash 30 of the 209.165.76.196 network. Okay, and then question mark. So we want to specify a net mask that is slash 30, 255.255.255.252. Sorry, 252. There you go. So after that, take note, the completion has increased. Configure the NAT interfaces. After creating the pool, configure sorry, I forgot step number 3. Associate ACL1 with the NAT protocol. Okay. So how do we associate the access list we created a while ago, the access list 1, to the my pool? Okay, so you just simply go to the global configuration again. Since we're already here, we just say IP NAT inside source, okay, will be the list. Okay, let me show you the options. Before it was static, so this time it will be a list. List of the number of access lists. So we already have an access list. We created one, and then it will be a pool. Okay, coming from the or specified by the NAT pool. The my pool. Sorry, my pool there. Okay, then we're done. Uh, Configure R2 interfaces with the appropriate inside and outside NAT commands. So how do we analyze our interfaces? So we have the S serials. We have there you go. We have the S000, okay, as 209.165, uh, that 76, or the outside, okay, the outside IP there. Sorry, there you go. So 209.165.76.193 for S000 and 172.16.1.1 for S001. So definitely the serial 000 will be the outside, okay? And the serial 001 will be the inside, okay? The inside. So here is the traffic flow from here going to the server, and we are pertaining to this network as the inside and this network as the outside. So let's just do the configuration. IP or interface S000, then IP NAT, then that is outside. Then interface S001, then IP NAT, sorry, inside. There you go. And I think we're done. So look at the completion. It's already 100%. Now, it says from the web browser, L1, PC1, or PC2 access the web page for server 1. So the IP address of server 1 is here. So 209. Let's start with the laptop, desktop, and then web browser. We would want to ping 209.165.201.5. So let me just copy this. Okay. Let's go. So we were able to access now the server 1. Let's do a mini mining mo here. First, the PC1. Okay. Desktop browser. Paste. There. Can access server 1. How about PC2? So sorry. Desktop web browser. Okay. So now there's the problem. It's not actually a problem. It's how we did it. Uh, it was timeout. It is timeout because it's request timeout because it can reach the server. Why? Because the dynamic NAT was only configured to map to here. Remember, we have a /13 network. It can only map to networks. Now let's look at uh, the translation. IP NAT translation. There. So as you can see here, 209.76.197 was given to one computer, okay, accessing the port 80. And 198 was given to another one. So it only distributed from the 196 network, the 209.168, where was it? Yeah, 209.165.76.196. 196 is the network address. 199 is the broadcast address. Can only distribute 197 and 198. Okay. So that's why there's a question here a while ago that there are only three network range that would be translated based on the ACL created. So whenever one tries to connect here, one client tries to connect here, there are only two network addresses that can be translated. Okay, so there you go. So hope you learn from the activity. So thank you very much for listening.